Well, hi there, everyone, and welcome to HACC Spring 2016 Online Open House. My name's Emily Fox. I'm the Virtual Learning Admission Counselor here at HACC, Central Pennsylvania's Community College. Glad you're joining us for the event, and if you live here locally in the Central Pennsylvania area, you'll realize it's snowing today on April 9th, believe it or not. So perhaps you're glad that you're joining us here remotely, online. We're glad that you're joining us. So today you'll have the chance to hear about HACC as a whole. You'll hear specifically from financial aid, from counseling. You'll hear from a current student as well as an alumni student, and as well as faculty members. So there will be time for questions at the end, and if you're a future HACC student, you'll have the chance to win a $1,000 tuition giveaway, which is good towards the summer or fall terms. If you're new to this Adobe Connect room setup, just know that the presenters are the only one with the microphone rights, but you do have the chance to interact with us using the chat box there on the right-hand side. So if you have questions or comments, feel free to type it there in the chat box. So to get started today at our open house, I'd like to start out with a few poll questions, and I ask for your participation. You'll see them popping up here on the screen here just momentarily. And the first poll question I have for you is, how did you learn about HACC's online open house? You can select how you did find out. Was it a billboard, an email from HACC, Facebook, flyer, maybe a HACC employee, the web page, a postcard in the mail, radio, word of mouth, or something else? Feel free to select your answer there. Looks like some word of mouth and an email from HACC, a website, so a variety of different ways that you heard about this event today. Great. I do have another poll question here, which I'll bring up. Thanks for your participation with this. We'd just like to know what our audience is like. Do we have mostly males or females present today? You can just select there. So half and half. We have a mix of both. Great. And another question for you. We'd like to know what your age range is. So are you within the age range 17 to 23, 24 to 30, 31 to 44, 45 to 55, or 56 and older? We here at HACC, we serve students of all different ages, different backgrounds. You're welcome here at HACC. Great, thank you. And one other question I have before we get started with the presentation. Just wondering if the $1,000 tuition giveaway influenced your decision to attend the event today. Did you know about it? Did you know about the tuition giveaway? Did you not know about it? You can select there. So it sounds like some of you did not know about the tuition giveaway. Perhaps that was a nice surprise, knowing that, hey, you may walk away with $1,000 today that can go towards your schooling for the summer or fall. So I do actually have a link here if you're interested in being entered into the tuition giveaway. Here in the chat box, I will post a link that you can go fill out your information. You do have to fill out I guess, electronic raffle, so to speak, to be eligible for the $1,000 tuition giveaway, which we'll announce around 12 o'clock today, and you do have to be present when we announce you as a winner. All right, at this time, I would like to turn your attention towards a brief welcome message from HACC's President, Ski.
Welcome to HACC, Central Pennsylvania's community college. HACC is proudly yours, and we're very excited to welcome you to our learning community and share all the options available across our 5 campuses and virtual learning. Whether you're considering earning a degree or planning to transfer credits or want to earn a certificate to advance your job skills, HACC has more than 150 programs to meet your needs. In fact, we offer 13 fully online degrees, such as communications and gerontology, and more than 500 online classes because we understand that you're busy and may not be able to take classes at our campuses. I hope that you'll seriously think about becoming a student and a graduate and join so many who've gone on to other prestigious institutions in Pennsylvania, such as Penn State and Millersville, and those outside the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I do hope that while you're with us, you will take the time to understand the difference we can make in your life and in your family's life. I hope that you'll get to know our innovative and creative faculty. Did you know that many of our faculty are known around the globe in our health fields, in our manufacturing fields, in our education fields? Did many of you who are in the audience know that if you're in high school or know someone who's in high school, there is a possibility you could earn your HACC degree before you earn your high school diploma through dual enrollment? Because we understand that you're busy and may not be able to take classes at our campuses. I hope that you'll seriously think about becoming a student and a graduate and join so many who've gone on to other prestigious institutions in Pennsylvania, such as Penn State and Millersville, and those outside the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I do hope that while you're with us, you will take the time to understand the difference we can make in your life and in your family's life. I hope that you'll get to know our innovative and creative faculty. Did you know that many of our faculty are known around the globe in our health fields, in our manufacturing fields, in our education fields? Did many of you who are in the audience know that if you're in high school or know someone who's in high school, there is a possibility you could earn your HACC degree before you earn your high school diploma through dual enrollment or college in the high school? And did any of you know that we offer classes around the globe through our study abroad program that could take you to places like Greece and Thailand and China? And finally, I know many of you are wondering, how am I going to pay for all of this? Well, through financial aid and through scholarships that the college offers, there is a way. Because we so sincerely want you to become a part of HACC's learning community so that you too can make HACC yours.
Well, hopefully most of you were able to hear from President Ski there. If you did have any issues hearing the video, I do have the link for the recording posted there in the chat box, which you can check out. I believe maybe the video skipped at one point, so I'm just going to blame anything that goes wrong today during this open house on the snow that's happening outside. So thanks for willing to work with us, and like I said, if you were not able to hear the video or see the video, check out the link there in the chat box. So I'd like to get started with the presentation here. I'll start out by talking about some general HACC information before we hear from Melissa in financial aid. So if you're not familiar with HACC, it stands for Harrisburg Area Community College, but more commonly we started referring to ourselves as HACC, Central Pennsylvania's Community College, because we reach so much further than just the Harrisburg area. So we do have 5 different campus locations. We have a campus in Harrisburg, Gettysburg, Lancaster, Lebanon, and York. And then of course we do have virtual learning as well, which can be done essentially from anywhere in the world. Switzerland, China, South Korea. We've had students attend virtually from those areas. And then of course here locally as well. To give you some background to HACC and HACC Facts, HACC was the first community college in Pennsylvania, established in 1964, and HACC has more than 150 different programs, so that's great. Usually whatever type of program you're looking to study, HACC has it. 17 of the programs are offered fully online, and you'll hear more about virtual learning a little bit later on in this presentation. And close to 20,000 students attend our campus locations as well as online. To give you some statistics, the Bureau of Labor Statistics study, as you're looking to further your education, you do want to make sure you're looking at these labor-related type of statistics. But according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics study, between 2014 and 2024, the average growth rate for all jobs will be 6.5%. So jobs requiring a degree are expected to increase over 8%. And it's anticipated that jobs requiring a certificate will increase by close to 12%. So fortunately, HACC offers a variety of different options for education to help you reach whatever goal it is that you do have to achieve. As I mentioned, HACC has over 150 different programs, and I do wish that I could touch on every single program here today so that it covers everybody's interests, but because we do have such a vast array of different programs, I will put the link in here that you can check out our 150 plus programs that we offer, but you can see some of the different areas that we do offer, business, nursing, variety of different areas. We do actually have some program days coming up where you can learn specifically about the program. So we have a Wellness and Health Promotion Program Day coming up this Wednesday, April 13th at 12 p.m. We also have a Geospatial Technology Program webinar on Tuesday, May 10th at 12 p.m. There's quite a few program day recordings which can be found online as well. I will post the link for the recordings. I know that we have done webinars on the business program, communication program, and there's others there as well which you can check out here at the link that I'll post in the chat box. I mentioned virtual learning earlier, and I want to bring it up again. It's certainly growing in popularity, and at this point we have 17 programs which are offered fully online. Business is our most popular online degree, but what's great is even if the program that you're hoping to pursue is not offered fully online, students may complete general education courses and sometimes some of the major courses online before coming to a campus. So students, they can pursue online courses, on-campus courses, or HACC does also offer blended courses where the course is half online, half on campus. I will post, in case you're interested in online learning and the programs that we have offered, 17 of those programs that are offered fully online. You can check out the link there that I just posted there in the chat box. So there's a great deal of flexibility with online learning as far as the location and the time. Each course is designed differently, but it follows a semester and a syllabus with due dates. So as long as students are following along with those parameters, the students can log in to complete the coursework when he or she wants. Related to virtual learning, and you'll probably hear from one of our faculty members, Pauline Chow, later on, who will talk perhaps a little bit more about this. iTunes U courses and collections. HACC was one of 6 institutions that began offering iTunes U courses and collections in 2012. HACC, along with Yale, Stanford, Duke, MIT, and the Open University, began offering iTunes U courses and collections, which are free, non-credit supplemental material available for students to learn more about particular areas. So like I said, Pauline, she's one of our math faculty members. She's very involved with creating iTunes U courses and collections, and she may mention that later on in the presentation as well. So HACC offers career associate degrees, transfer associate degrees, certificates, and diplomas. To provide you with a brief overview of the differences, the Career Associate degree is designed for students who are looking to obtain an associate degree and then enter the workforce upon graduation. Whereas a transfer associate degree, students have the goal of continuing on with education at a four-year institution after graduation. So if students are going full-time, typically an associate degree takes 2 years. Certificates are also available. Certificates typically take about a year, and often certificates are obtained by individuals who are already working in a field but want a specialty technical or occupational skill. So an example of certificates that we have here at HACC is baking and pastry arts, or some of the different trades areas such as welding or HVAC. And then HACC also offers diplomas. Usually it takes about a few months to go through a diploma program, and similar to certificates, it's usually within a particular technical or occupational skill. So here at HACC, to give you an example, we have an auctioneering diploma, which is a very unique program that we have offered. There's also some different culinary arts type of diplomas and trades programs, among many other options, but just wanted to give you some examples. Now, I know I talked about the transfer associate degree, which is when students plan to attend HACC for 2 years and then a four-year institution for 2 years to ultimately obtain their bachelor's degree. 1/3 of HACC students pursue a transfer associate degree, and sometimes you may hear it referred to as a 2+2 program, just because 2 years at a community college, 2 years at a four-year institution. And HACC has quite a few articulation and transfer agreements set up with numerous schools, where it's already been predetermined that what you're taking here at HACC will transfer right with you to the next school. Even if we do not have agreements set up with schools, typically HACC's credits transfer very well into most other accredited institutions. But here on the slide, you'll see some of the common institutions that our HACC students transfer onto. Penn State is the #1 transfer school, but like I said, it's not limited to just these schools. It's very important that you're working with an advisor here at HACC to make sure whatever you're taking will transfer smoothly with you to the next institution. Besides the credit courses here at HACC, HACC also offers workforce development and continuing education opportunities. So HACC has adult education pathways if you're looking to prepare for your GED, or perhaps ESL, English as a Second Language, is of interest to you. Our HACC workforce programs offer that. We do also have some community education options. I know we've had some courses, for example, in aquatic exercise or planning for retirement. Maybe you need to brush up on Microsoft Word or Excel or CPR training. We do offer some different educational pathways for classes such as that. Healthcare education is another workforce pathway. Medical billing and coding, becoming a nursing aide or massage therapy. Those are all some options within our healthcare education workforce. Also manufacturing, management, and technology. So oftentimes jobs you'll see within a warehouse, maybe forklift operator or a CDL driver. Those are some examples that fall under that area. And then the last area I'll mention in regards to workforce, which are technically non-credit courses, is public safety. So law enforcement, fire, and EMS, emergency services. Those are all some areas that fall within the workforce development. So if you're interested in those, I do encourage you to visit our webpage and find out more information. I wish that I could go more in depth to every single area, but like I said, I do want to give you a big overview of HACC, and certainly you can reach out to me or check out the webpage for further details. Another area I'd like to touch on that has certainly grown here at HACC is our dual enrollment. And dual enrollment is what we call the students who are in high school as juniors and seniors taking college level courses. It's a great way for high school juniors and seniors to feel what it's like to take a college credit, but also to get a head start to their college education. And one of the best parts is there's a price difference for dual enrollment students. So high school juniors and seniors are able to take HACC courses for $100 per credit. As far as HACC Prestige, HACC is accredited by the Middle States, which ensures high quality education. We do also provide opportunities for students such as the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society, the Bucknell Community College Scholarship Program, and we do also have an honors program here at HACC, which can be checked out further. There's various ways to get involved at HACC as well. Students have the opportunity to study abroad. There are opportunities to play sports. So HACC has basketball team, volleyball, cross country, soccer, and golf teams. HACC also has clubs for students to get involved with, quite a number of different clubs, but some examples are the Student Government Association. Virtual Learning actually has a Virtual Learning Student Advisory Council, which is essentially like a student government association for virtual learning students. There's an International Awareness Club, the Fourth Estate, which is the newspaper, and numerous other clubs and ways for students to get involved. Student services are available to support students as well. HACC has career services, which can help students with picking a major, with interviewing skills, putting together a resume, even talking about internship opportunities. Career services is here to help students. Advising and counseling is also here to support students. You'll hear from Gina Bowers later on in this presentation, one of our counselors, and she'll talk to you about maybe some areas that can help you out as far as your major and some tools that can help you as you're looking to schedule courses and pick the pathway that you're most interested in. Disability services is another option for students if you are needing any type of accommodations. We do have disability services on all of our campus locations and for online students. Veteran Affairs, we have Military and Veterans Affairs Office, which walks veterans or military personnel through the steps to become a successful student. And at HACC, we are the second highest veteran enrollment institution in Pennsylvania, so we're very vet-friendly here at HACC. And the last student service I'll touch on, please know the services go beyond this. I'm just touching on some of maybe the bigger services that we do offer, but the Welcome Center is likely a place that you'll use quite a bit as a student. The Welcome Center is a place that you'll go for assistance with financial aid, registration, any general student inquiries that you may have, so help with logging into your account. And do know that even if you're at a distance, you will likely turn to the Welcome Center at some point, either calling them or emailing them. So before we pass the program over to financial aid, I would like to walk through the steps to becoming a student here at HACC so that you are aware. Maybe some of you have even gone through some of these steps and maybe you're halfway through the process, but I want you to be aware we do have quite a simple admission step process, but I want you to be aware of it. So the first step to becoming a student is applying online. It's free to apply online. If you go to hacc.edu, actually the background to this slide is exactly what our homepage looks like, and you can see a little star around the Apply Now button. That's exactly what it looks like, and that's where you can go to apply. We also encourage students to complete the free application for federal student aid, which is more commonly referred to as a FAFSA. That will allow you to explore your financial aid options, and I'll let Melissa talk more about this and your financial aid options in just a few minutes here. We do have a number of scholarships available for students, so I encourage you to check those out as you're looking to become a student here at HACC. After applying and filling out your FAFSA, students go through placement testing in math, reading, and writing. And it's not pass or fail, really, it's just to determine what would be the best course or courses for you to start at. Typically, it takes about 2 hours to go through placement testing, but it's not timed. And you do have the option to do the placement test on a campus or online. After placement testing, students go through new student orientation, which is done online for all students. But if you are looking to also take courses on a campus, you'll take the online new student orientation, which is found in your MyHACC account, as well as the new student orientation on a physical campus. And from there, register for classes. Every student is assigned to an advisor or a counselor who can assist you with putting together your educational pathway and registering for courses. And then paying for tuition does come after that. I don't have it listed here as a step, but I do want you to just be aware of what our different tuition prices are. We do strive to be very affordable here at HACC, and I'll post the tuition information for you. Keep in mind, we do have an in-state sponsored school districts, so we have 22 sponsored school districts. If you reside within one of those areas, you do get a slightly lower tuition rate. We also have in-state tuition and out-of-state tuition. So I'll let you check that out there on the link. For this summer, it is for the non-sponsored in-state residents, it's $250 per credit this summer, and then starting in the fall it will be $259.50 per credit. So like I said, here at HACC we do strive to be affordable, but yet give you that quality education that you're looking for. Keep in mind, new student registration for the summer and fall terms begins on Monday, which is April 11th. That's when you can start registering for courses in your MyHACC account. So at this time, I know that I did mention the admission steps and the important step of filling out the free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA. So like I said, I do have Melissa from the Welcome Center in Lancaster. Melissa Wisniewski, she serves as the Lancaster's Campus Director of Enrollment Services and Financial Aid, and Melissa will be sharing some helpful information for you to know as you look into your financial aid options. And while I'm saying this about financial aid, I do want to give you a reminder that if you're interested in our $1,000 tuition giveaway, which is good towards the summer and fall terms, make sure that you are filling out the survey, which I'll post there in the chat box. Make sure you're filling that out if you're interested in being entered into the $1,000 tuition giveaway. But at this time, I'd like to turn the program over to Melissa Wisniewski from our Lancaster Financial Aid Office. Melissa.
Hello, can everybody hear me okay? Good, okay.
Yes.
Thank you. To get started here, I just want to start out with some fun facts, if you can, if financial aid can be considered fun. Just to give you kind of an idea of what most students receive here at HACC and to give you an idea of what maybe you could expect. 65% of our students here do receive some form of financial aid, and most of those that don't receive it are because they're choosing not to. I don't want you to think that you only have a 65% chance of getting funds. It's just that students are choosing not to apply for a number of reasons. Our foundation, as Emily had mentioned, scholarship options a little bit earlier, our foundation awards over $890,000 per year, so that's pretty substantial for a community college. Most of their scholarships average around $1,000 for the year, so students would expect to see $500 in the fall and $500 in the spring, just to kind of give you an idea how that gets broken down. We also have something available to students on campus called the Work Study Program. So some of you, maybe you're interested in virtual courses, maybe that's why you're attending the virtual open house, but maybe you have a reason to come on campus from time to time or take a class on campus from time to time. The Work Study Program would allow you to work in an office on campus, and the award comes from federal financial aid funds that we are able to pay students for their time spent on campus. So for example, we have student workers in the financial aid office, in our counseling and advising office. We have a lot of student tutors, so a peer tutor that would assist you in our learning center, our library employs student workers. So many of the different departments on campus do employ student workers. So the average award is about $5,000 for the year, which would allow most students to work up to 20 hours per week. And the college is very flexible with that time to help you around your class schedule. The average loan that students receive here at HACC is $5,683. Now, please keep in mind this is an average. Many students borrow less, and you're not required to borrow any amount because this is money that you will be responsible to pay back once you're out of school. Some students do borrow more, however, because they have a higher need for different reasons. We also award $36 million in Pell, SEOG, and fee estate grants. This is all free money in which you do not have to pay back. So that, again, that's a pretty substantial amount of money that students are getting towards their education. Many students will take that loan money to pay for some of those additional costs above their tuition, books, supplies, things of that nature, just to kind of give you an idea. So we're talking a little bit about the cost to attend the college. There's the actual cost, which is what you are billed by the college. That would be your tuition and fees. Since we are not a dormitory school, we don't offer any dorms at any of our campuses. We don't charge you for room and board or like a meal plan that you might hear of at another institution. So all you're going to receive in a bill from the school, again, is your tuition and your fees. As Emily had mentioned, the summer tuition is $250 per credit for in-state non-sponsoring, and the rate for fall does go up a little bit to the $259.50 per credit. I also want to mention that some of our courses do have an additional fee above that. Our chemistry, biology, they'll have a lab fee often. Some of the math courses have an additional fee, and maybe your arts. Not every course, but some will, so just keep that in mind. If you're registering for a class that has a lab, when you look at the course online before you register, it should indicate how much that lab fee is. Then we have what we call budgeted costs. So again, as I mentioned, we're only going to send you a bill for your tuition and fees. But we know that as a college student, you have other expenses. So you do still have room and board, even though you're not particularly living in a dormitory on our campus. You have some personal expenses, you have books and supplies, and of course you have transportation because you have to drive to campus since we don't have dorms. So financial aid is permitted to award you up to your budgeted costs. So we build in room for room and board, personal expenses, transportation, books, and supplies. That allows our students to receive financial aid over and above the cost of their tuition. So maybe you're thinking, well, what am I going to do with that? I already pay for my rent. I have that covered. You may not decide to take any additional funds because often it is going to be loan funds. But some students need that money. Some students take just what they need for their books and supplies. Some take a little bit to help them with their transportation expenses. The one really cool thing that we offer here at HACC that not all schools do is we extend a credit to students at our bookstore. So if you have financial aid over and above the cost of your tuition, we give you a credit for that. It's normally about 2 weeks before the semester starts, in which you can go to the bookstore and charge your books and supplies against that excess financial aid. So that's something really awesome that we do. Once your financial aid pays into the college, we'll pay off your tuition and your fees. If you do charge anything at the bookstore, we'll pay off the bookstore balance, and then we would refund to you anything left over after that. That's where you would get your money for your transportation, your room and board. So please keep in mind that most of our students do not receive a refund from the college until about October for this fall semester. So if you're planning to use some of that money to pay rent in August, that money is not going to be available to you for that. So please plan accordingly. So to apply for financial aid, Emily did touch on this just a little bit, but I'll go into a little more detail. You do need to complete the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, and we have their website listed here, FAFSA.gov. You do need to apply every year. So I don't know if anybody here is interested in coming in summer. Right now, you might feel like you're going to have to do a lot of stuff right away. So for summer, you would need to do the 2015-2016 FAFSA form, and you want to get that done as soon as possible. That application will use your 2014 tax information. If you're attending in the fall semester, in addition to summer, or maybe you're just starting in fall, you need to complete the 2016-2017 FAFSA form. If you can complete it before April 15th, I know that's coming up here just a little bit later this week, but that is our preferred filing deadline. It is not a hard and fast deadline. You would absolutely still receive financial aid if you don't meet the April 15th deadline, but that is the college's preferred deadline. That application is going to use your 2015 tax information. So if you haven't filed your taxes yet, you have a few more days to get that done. You could estimate your taxes, and then once your taxes are completed, you could go back and update that information. That is an option for you. Maybe when you sit down to do your FAFSA, you say, 2014 tax information, that really is not reflective of what my current income situation is. Maybe you had a loss of a job or a loss of some untaxed income, divorce, separation, maybe unfortunately a death in the family that has affected your overall income. There are situations, as I mentioned, some of these, job loss, divorce, separation, or death, where we at the college have the authority to make some adjustments to your financial aid application based on what your current situation is. It's best that you reach out to our financial aid, any of the financial aid offices here at the college, and really talk through what's going on with you, and we can advise you if that's the best in your best interest. It is preferable that we have your FAFSA on file. That would allow us to see what the situation is based on that 2014 income to see if it's something that we can adjust moving forward. The other thing, maybe if you're a student who's under the age of 24 and the FAFSA is asking you to provide parent information, maybe you don't have contact with your parents, maybe you haven't had contact with your parent for a number of years for different reasons. There are cases that the federal government, again, gives the college the authority to make some adjustments and not require you to provide parent information. That process is called a dependency override. I do want to caution here that this is for extreme situations where there are documented cases of abuse, neglect. Maybe your parents passed away when you were a child, or one of your parents passed away, maybe you went to live with a relative. Something to that effect. This is not for someone who says, oh, we got in a fight last week and we're just not talking right now. This is for the really extreme situation. Then we, somewhat recently in the last few years, FAFSA made another change, giving schools a little more authority to help those students who just don't receive any financial support from their parents. Now this is completely no support. You can't be on their car insurance, you can't be on their cell phone plan. They are providing you absolutely no assistance whatsoever. There's a form that they have to sign indicating when they stopped providing support for you, and you have to provide a little additional information on how you're supporting yourself. And we can, in those cases as well, push that FAFSA through without your parents' information. So again, the best thing here to do is to talk to the financial aid office, give them a little more information about what your situation is, and we can help guide you in the right direction. You may have heard some things in the news lately. About a year ago, there was some changes announced to upcoming FAFSA applications. So right now, as I mentioned, if you're going to do the summer application, you need to use your 2014 information, and then the application for fall, you're going to use your 2015 information. Well, when you apply for the next year, for the 2017-2018 school year, you're going to use your 2015 tax information again. This is a drastic change in the financial aid world. This is something they've been talking about for many, many years and is finally coming to a reality. The big benefits to this for you as students is you're going to be able to file your FAFSA so much earlier. It's going to be available in October of 2016, which is 3 months earlier than normal, but you're already going to have all that tax information done, and it's going to be accurate. So you're not going to have to wait to do your 2016 taxes. You're not going to have to estimate figures and go back and update. You'll have all of it. So it'll make submitting your next year FAFSA so much easier. So that's a big excitement in the financial aid world. As we've mentioned a few times now, the HACC Foundation does offer a number of scholarships to our students, and you can apply online at hacc.academicworks.com. You do need to file your FAFSA before applying for scholarships, and I should probably back up a step there. You do need to apply to the college first, because you do need to have your college email address in order to create an account on the Academic Works website and actually do the application. So apply to the college, get your HACC mail address, file your FAFSA, and then make sure you're adhering to all the deadlines on the Foundation's website. They do a cycle. One just ended, and then they'll do one again in the fall. So in the fall semester, maybe you could apply for some scholarships for the upcoming spring semester. If you do apply for any scholarships, you want to make sure you check your HACC mail frequently for notifications and updates from them. They will send you notices that require you to act. So maybe you need to do a thank you note or respond to them in some way. You want to make sure you're doing that, or you may lose those funds. And then some other payment options. So maybe you don't want to apply for financial aid. It's not for you for whatever reason. The college does offer a payment plan, and we've recently made some big changes to our payment plan. You are charged a $30 fee to be on the payment plan, but we've extended the number of payments. So for the summer, it's now going to be 5 payments to pay that balance down, and for the fall, you're now going to have 6 payments. Both will still require the $30 fee, but it's about double the number of payments. So it'll spread that out for you and make it a little bit more manageable for many students. Employers is another place you could look. Many employers offer tuition reimbursement, and some may even go as far as to pay for the courses for you up front. Most do the reimbursement route, but they require you to complete the course first, and then you show them your grades, and then they reimburse you for a portion of what you paid. OVR, or the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. Many of our students with disabilities will work with our OVR office, and they can offer some additional funding to them. They also normally would require students to have the FAFSA completed. They do use some of the information on the FAFSA to make their determination. And then, as Emily had mentioned, we have a very strong VA office on campus. Many of our students are receiving VA benefits. So if you or a family member are a veteran and may have some benefit eligibility, I would definitely recommend that you touch base with our VA office and see how they might be able to help you there. Private scholarships is the other option I would mention to you. Many students receive scholarships from clubs or organizations that they're a part of. So anything that you might be involved with, I would say look to them to see if they offer a scholarship. My credit union actually offers a scholarship, which was news to me about a year ago when I first saw that. So some of the places you might not normally think. I would never have gone to my credit union looking for a scholarship, but one day I logged in and saw it on their website. So go to those places that you're a member of and see what they might have to offer for you. Many of our students have found funds that way as well. That's just about wrapping up my portion there. If you have any questions in the financial aid office, or you think you might have one of the unique situations you want to talk to us a little bit more about, you can contact us at 1-800-ABC-HACC, and we'd be happy to assist you. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa, and thanks for sharing so many great tips for students to receive assistance in paying for school. And I mentioned that HACC strives to be affordable, but we do understand that it is still an investment, and there's many avenues that can help you out. So really the first step is filling out your FAFSA at FAFSA.gov if you have not already. And I hope that you're able to take Melissa up on some of her options that she did present to you. So at this time in the program, I would like to transition on to counseling and advising. We have Gina Bowers with us today, and she's HACC's virtual learning counselor. She's also a faculty member here at HACC, and she's planning to overview some resources to help you choose the right program for you and really talk about how counseling and advising can help you here at HACC. So Gina.
Very good. Thank you, Emily. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, wonderful. Well, good morning and welcome. And as Emily said, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about choosing a major. So you're ready to come to college, or you think you're ready to come to college, but maybe you don't know what major to select. And I'm here to help you with that, to go over some of the many resources that we offer to help you with that decision. Okay, so let me move forward. This is sort of an overview, just a few of the majors that we have at HACC. As someone said earlier, there's about 130 some programs that we offer. And some popular questions. What's your major? What do you want to do after college, etc.? And your answer may be, I don't know. Okay, so if you don't know, let me go over some of the options for you, and just to sort of put you at ease, you don't have to know from the beginning what it is you want to do, and actually I think probably at this point the average college student changes their major about 6 times. So and not to say that you should, but it's not uncommon that as you gain more information through your classes and experience that you change your major and decide, you know, maybe I really don't want to get into elementary education because I don't like kids. So maybe that's not the best career path. So as more things become available to you, you may decide to change your mind, and that's perfectly okay. Okay, so the first thing, how to make some of these decisions. Well, we offer different classes. One of them is the FS 100, Career Development and Decision Making. It's an excellent class, 3-credit class, where you'll go over a lot of different career options. They'll have guest speakers come in and just go over a lot of the resources that we have at HACC through websites and interest inventories and whatnot. And it's just a good way to learn about different job options that are out there. You know, and most of us, we don't have any idea all the different careers that we could go into because we just haven't been exposed to them. And so this class is a great way for you to just get that exposure and kind of open your eyes to things that you probably have never even thought about. Other ways, talking to family, friends, coworkers, folks that maybe you go to church with or you're in social organizations, and just find out, what are they doing? How did they get to that point? Do they like it? Don't they like it? Volunteering, job shadowing, you know, going with someone, just going with them to work and just sort of observing what they're doing. And also with HACC, we have many counselors and advisors, and we welcome you to come in and talk to us about what you're thinking and to help you with that decision as well. Okay, some of the HACC resources. We have something called a career coach. Excellent website. We've been using this for maybe about a year now, a little less than a year, and it's full of resources to give you more specific information about the various fields. And just want to point out that these are all links that I'm showing on this page. Okay. What can I do with a major in? I love this link. Say, for example, you really want to major in English, and maybe your parents are saying, well, what can you do with that? You can't have any kind of a career with that, or art. Well, this particular link will take you to a page, and it'll show you all the different options, like if you want to major in English or art, just different avenues that maybe that degree might be helpful, other than just, I'm going to teach English or I'm going to teach art. There are many other ways that that degree might be used. And our library guides, our LibGuides, there's a link to that here as well, and this is a collection of resources and links to help you explore further. Okay, and as Emily mentioned this earlier, she was talking about our career degrees versus our transfer degrees. And the career degrees are essentially to get you out into the workforce, okay? Where the transfer degrees are designed for you to go to a four-year school. And not to say that people that get the associate, the career degree, that they don't transfer, because sometimes they do. But generally speaking, the transfer degrees are designed to articulate and transfer to a four-year school so that there's no there's no lapse, there's no extra courses that you have to do, etc. It's a smooth transfer, where with the career associate degree, sometimes you might need to go back and take maybe more math classes or more gen eds before you could transfer. But they both are options. And the biggest difference is with the career degree, you're taking more major related courses. In the transfer degree, you're taking more general education courses. Those are the big differences. Okay, so what's the difference? A major, career, what's the difference? Okay, so your major is basically, it's the field of study that you're going to learn more about. A career is how you're going to apply that degree, and this is a lifelong kind of a process. And again, here's another link to that. What can I do with a major in? When you're choosing what major you might want to have, a lot of times we recommend the students do interest inventories. Your personality, your interests, your passions, your likes, your dislikes, all of those things factor into what career might be best for you. As I said earlier, maybe someone said, hey, you should go into teaching because you get your summers off, and you're thinking, hey, that's a really good option. And then as you're in the major, you're realizing, you know what, I can't stand kids. I don't think I would be a good teacher. Well, absolutely not. Your dislikes are very important, and so you really want to factor all those kinds of things in. And in the Career Center, we offer different interest inventories, and they look at things like the model that you're seeing in front of you to kind of pull all that information together. And, do you like working with your hands? Do you like being in an office? Do you want to be around people all day? Would you rather not be around people? Do you like details, or do details just drive you absolutely nuts and you'd rather look at the big picture? And those might seem like they're very unimportant, but they're not. They're very important pieces. And there are many interest inventories out there that have a way of taking all that information, pulling it together and saying, people with the interest and passions and personalities similar to yours often go into X, Y, and Z career fields. Okay, it's not to say that you are going to be good at those things, but your interest, your personality, and your passion lines up with someone who might be in nursing or accounting or teaching, etc. And that's kind of how they come to those conclusions. And it's very interesting process to do. So I highly recommend those. Okay, and I mentioned earlier some of the resources that we have. I didn't mention that we do have career events at all of our campuses as well as online. We offer different events where folks will come in and present. Maybe we'll have a criminal justice symposium, and folks from the criminal justice field will come in and tell the students about, this is what I do in the criminal justice field, and this is what I do in the criminal justice field, and this is how I got there, this is what my typical day is like, and just sort of expose you to what's out there. And that's what a lot of career decision making is about, is just learning what's out there. Sometimes we think, well, I'm going to be a teacher, I'm going to be a nurse, I'm going to work in a factory, I'm going to be a doctor. We think about things that maybe we've come into contact with. And one of the benefits of going through these career events is learning about all the other things that are out there that we just have not had that exposure to. And so I highly recommend those. The interest inventories, I mentioned that earlier. And resumes, when it's time for you to start looking for a job, our career services does offer assistance with resumes, as well as the career coach, I believe, has a whole section on resumes as well. Okay. In addition to career services, there's counseling, advising, your faculty, and even the staff that you encounter with at HACC may be helpful in terms of kind of leading you in the right direction. So all of these can be your career tools. Okay, what does it take for you to be successful at HACC, and what does it take for you to help make your, make a decision as far as what major? It's important to establish your priorities, attend class, get involved. Don't be afraid to reach out to your professor, to the counselor, to your faculty advisor, and just become familiar with your campus resources. When you log into the HACC website, you're going to have access to a lot of information. Don't be afraid to click those buttons and see what's out there. Go out to the virtual learning website and click the resources to see what's out there. There's a lot of information. Really, it's overwhelming at times. There's just so much information, and don't be afraid to explore. And by all means, feel free to reach out to myself, the other folks that are presenting here today, and the other folks that I've listed on the presentation. There's a lot of resources, and we're happy to help. So feel free, be proactive about trying to figure out what it is you want to do, and ask questions. We're here to help.
Thank you, Gina, and I think it's very clear at this part of the program that HACC offers a variety of programs that can fit students' interests, and sometimes it can be hard to decide what program you do want to pursue, but Gina provided a lot of different resources that can help you as a student as you're trying to make that decision and move forward. So thank you, Gina, for that. Before we move on in the presentation here, where we hear from a current student as well as a HACC alum, I do want to remind you, or perhaps you were not present here in the presentation when I made the announcement, that today we will be giving out a $1,000 tuition giveaway to future students. That is good towards the summer term as well as the fall term coming up here. If you're interested in being entered into that $1,000 tuition giveaway, make sure that you are clicking on that SurveyMonkey link that I have there in the chat box and filling out your information to be entered in. So another reminder for you, you don't want to miss out on that opportunity. So at this time, I'd like to turn the program over to our students. They have been in your shoes recently and can share some helpful tips and advice for you. We have two students joining us. We have Judd Howdyshell, who is a current student, and then also Beth Kransel, who is a HACC alum. Beth here has her dog Ernie, who's supporting HACC as well, and also, in case you were wondering, Judd always wears a boutonniere. So you'll hear more from both of them here shortly. I would like Judd and Beth, if both of you could just introduce yourself briefly, and Beth, if you could please start us off.
Hi, my name's Beth Kransel. I graduated from HACC in December of 2014 with my associate's degree in social sciences. I live in Camp Hill, and I also now work for HACC in admissions. And my HACC experience was great, and I'm glad to be a part of today's presentation.
And my name is Judd Howdyshell, and I'm currently a student in HACC's Virtual Learning campus with an anticipated major of technology studies. I live in Myerstown, Pennsylvania, and this is my second semester in HACC's Virtual Learning.
Great, thank you, Judd and Beth. So I'd like to ask both of you some questions that we'll go through here, and certainly as viewers, as potential future students, this may be helpful to hear some tips from them as they have gone through this and can share with you. So the first question that I have here is, why did you decide to come to HACC, and why did you decide to take online courses? Or if you took courses on a campus or blended courses, you can certainly talk about that as well. But Judd, if you could talk about why you decided to come to HACC, and why did you decide to take classes online, on campus, or blended, I'd love if you could share.
I chose to come to HACC due to the convenience of the location of the Lebanon campus in comparison to where I live. The availability of the online-only courses wasn't easy decision for me. Working as an EMT full-time, I have varied and unpredictable hours, so it fits my schedule quite well.
Beth, and if you could share as well, please.
I was working full-time. I was a non-traditional student. I did not start college until age 42. And that decision was made. My children were grown, and I had decided it was time to do something for me, and I had always wanted to go to college. So working full-time, my husband has a small business. We have 2 children. HACC was, there was no other, there was no other place I wanted to go other than HACC. It's basically in my backyard. And about 50% of my degree was online because I needed that convenience of being able to work, have a family, and the ability to log in at 11 or 12 o'clock, or if I didn't sleep at night, be able to do it first, 3 o'clock in the morning if I had to. So the flexibility is what worked best for me.
Thanks, Beth and Judd, and I hear that a lot from students. I predominantly work with online students, and a lot of times that flexibility factor comes up. Our students are busy. Many of them have families or jobs or multiple other things that they're juggling in their life, and online learning provides that flexibility, but certainly there's options for students too. Some students prefer to come onto a campus, and if it works with their schedule, they're more than welcome even to mix the 3 together, maybe take in some online courses on campus and blended courses all within the same semester. So thanks for sharing on that. I have another question for you here in regards to the resources that we have here at HACC. What is one HACC resource or a service that we offer that you could not live without? And Beth, if you could start us off.
For me, that was definitely the library, and now that I'm a cohort student at Shippensburg, I transferred from the Transfer Social Sciences program. I still use the library. The resources are amazing. The people that work there are amazing. One of the most valuable resources for me was to be able to go online and do the chat with one of the librarians. They are up to date on the information that you need. They can get you set up with different research and different items you may need for either projects, or in my case it was a lot of literature review and items like that. So I would definitely say the library was my best resource.
And I would actually have to second Beth's referral to the library, especially the online chat with the librarians. That was very nice. I didn't realize that it was actually available until about 2:30 in the morning one night trying to do a research paper. So it came in handy at that time. But I actually really enjoy the smart thinking online tutoring. Whether you actually need tutoring or you just need someone to look over a research paper for you, you can submit that paper, and usually within 24 hours or less, they'll have the paper with some revisions or criticism for you to take into account, and I've always had good luck with that.
Great, thank you. It sounds like using the library and Smart Thinking, which is the tutoring service, they are winners, and I hear that a lot from students. And what's great about HACC is we have resources available on a campus, but we also have resources available online. Maybe you're planning to attend from a distance, from California, for instance. That's not very easy to actually come to our physical campus, but Ask the Librarian, which is the chat feature on our library page, certainly comes in handy, as well as Smart Thinking. The tutoring is available 24/7, and students have unlimited access to the Smart Thinking as virtual students. So 2 great resources that were pointed out, and certainly HACC has many other resources, but it's great to hear it directly from the students. So thanks, Judd and Beth. Let's move on to another question here for both of you. I'd like to know what is your interaction like with HACC instructors, the staff, or your classmates? Judd, if you could start us out, please.
I have truly had nothing but a positive experience during my time with HACC. Whether it's speaking with my advisor or the Welcome Center, fellow students, or even my instructors, everyone seems to come together when you need help and just do their best to get you on the right track. The instructors are, especially online, are very accessible and helpful. If you put in the effort and show them that you want to succeed, they're very willing to go out of their way just to help you. And that's always encouraging for anyone.
I agree with Judd. Another thing I found during the virtual courses, even though some of them might be distance, I'm currently on an online course for Spanish, and the instructor is with HACC, but in a different location. She's still accessible and available. Within 24 hours, she gets back to me with questions. So you can really build relationships on virtual classes the same way that you can in the classroom. And I like that because, again, you're doing virtual, and sometimes you're not doing homework until 11 o'clock at night, and even with the next morning you'll have an answer back. So I do like that. And as far as, the staff and classmates, when I was on campus, I found that on campus a lot of my instructors were people within the community that are actually doing the same type of work that you're looking to go into. So it's great to use those resources later on in your college career or even in your career.
Great, thanks. Yes, it sounds like many positive interactions that you've had with your instructors, staff, and classmates. And if you are taking an online course, know that you're not alone. You have an instructor there to turn out to. You have staff members that you can turn to, the library. So you're not alone, whether you're on a campus or online. We're here to support you, and we want you to succeed. Many of our instructors are extremely passionate, not only about their subject area, but also about helping the students. And you'll hear from 2 faculty members here in a few minutes, and I think you'll see that shine through as you hear some of the answers that they respond to. So moving on to another question. Life is busy for many of us, and I did mention that a lot of online students especially, and even students that are coming on a campus, they're juggling things in their life, be it family or working, especially, and many other things. So what's your advice for students pursuing education with a busy schedule? Beth?
Definitely time management. It's important as soon as you get that syllabus to write it on your calendar, whatever kind of calendar works for you. I tried different types of methods. I tried putting it on my phone. I tried putting it in a notebook type calendar, and you just really need to find what works for you, because time management is so important when you're doing a virtual class. And different professors have different due dates, different times. I've had it where one class might be 11:59 Friday night, another one might be 11:59 Sunday night. So you really need to have time management and organization, know where you're at, know what's due. But in the same token, don't stress about it. Just be organized. Take the syllabus as soon as you get it, read over it, and just put those dates on your calendar. One trick that worked for me was each course I color coordinated with a highlighter, so I kind of knew where I was at and what course I was working on and when the items were due.
I absolutely agree with Beth, and I actually do the same thing with color coding courses in my calendar. What I would suggest is when you get that syllabus and you start reading through and you start to feel anxious or overwhelmed, just take a deep breath and prioritize. Look at everything that your instructor is asking you to do. Focus on what's important and prioritize that. Your instructor understands if there's a schedule conflict. I mean, life is unpredictable. Stuff happens. Talk to your instructor, reach out to them, build a rapport with them, and go to the instructor with a possible solution. Your instructor or professor might actually say, hey, listen, I understand. We'll help you work ahead, see if that'll fix the situation. If not, maybe we'll postpone something just to help you. Sometimes that's not an option, but always look to your instructor and ask for help.
Great tip. So it sounds like time management really is key, and maybe even color coordinating, especially if you're taking multiple courses. I can see how that would be helpful. And also communicating with your instructor. That's key, whether you're online or on campus, to make sure you're on the same page and understanding each other. So I do have one more question for both of you here, and Beth, you'll have to answer this one a little bit different because you are now post-HACC. You are an alumni now at this point. But what are your plans post-HACC, or Beth, for you, maybe what are your plans post Shippensburg, I believe is where you're at. So Judd, if you could share what your plans are post-HACC, I'd appreciate it.
My plans post-HACC are to expand my work experience. I'm starting an IT job that I just got into in the next few weeks, and I'm hoping to build upon my skills and knowledge for that career. I'm probably going to end up transferring my degree into another school or online college. It all depends on what my schedule allows me to do.
And as far as my post-HACC plans, I'm currently a student in the Shippensburg cohort program for a Bachelor of Social Work. And as far as the transfer from HACC, it was flawless. I spoke to my advisor. I knew what credits were going to transfer, what I needed to do prior to that whole process occurring before graduation. I actually brought my skills back to HACC as far as working with people and helping them be successful. And I'm basically just looking forward to taking some classes for fun after graduation, just some of those additional art classes and maybe a music class, just something I can do for myself after graduation from Shippensburg.
Sounds like you both have a plan, and Judd, congratulations on your IT career that you're headed towards, and best wishes to you with that. And Beth, best wishes to you as you continue on there at Shippensburg. And you bring up a great point in that sometimes students come through HACC to just take courses for fun. You do not necessarily have to pursue a diploma, a certificate, or a degree. Maybe you just need one course and you just want to take it for fun, or maybe you need a course where you're preparing for your master's program, a prerequisite. There's many different options, and we're here to support you at HACC. But thank you, Judd and Beth, for sharing. That was extremely helpful. The tips that you gave, color coordinating, managing your time, using the library, those are some things that I heard you mention throughout the questions that I was asking. So thank you so much for sharing. So you heard the student perspective, but I would also like for those of you in attendance today to hear from our faculty. Very caring faculty members we have here at HACC, and I'd just like you to hear some tips and perspectives from them as well. So I have two faculty members here live with us today. We have Caroline Mellinger as well as Pauline Chow. Caroline teaches within the history area, and then Pauline teaches mathematics. But I don't want to steal your introductions too much, so if Caroline and Pauline, if you could introduce yourselves, and Caroline, you can start us off, please.
Okay, well, thank you, and welcome everybody again to this really well-presented open house, virtual open house. And I'm honored, I should say, to be on a panel with Pauline Chow, too. She's one of our most accomplished professors at HACC, has been there a long time. So it is an honor to share, I guess, a virtual podium with Pauline Chow. As Emily said, I'm Caroline Mellinger. I am a professor, associate professor of history for virtual learning, and I currently am teaching full-time, like I said, online.
And Pauline, if you could also please introduce yourself, that would be great.
Can you hear me, first of all?
Yes.
Okay. I'm experiencing a connection problem, so let me know if you cannot hear me. Thank you, Caroline, for the great intro, okay? First of all, I've been at HACC for like 30-some years. I teach at all levels at HACC, but right now I'm teaching only online classes, only 2 actually, will be the college algebra and applied calc. Because right now I'm on transitional retirement. Don't want to brag. I'm in San Francisco right now, but it is raining, better than snowing, right, in the East Coast. So that's my brief intro. Okay?
Thank you. Yes, I think you do have us beat out. I'd prefer rain over snow anyway. But thank you both for joining us today, Caroline and Pauline. I'd like to get started with some questions that you can share here with our future students. The first question I have for you is, why did you decide to teach in your discipline, and why did you decide to teach at HACC? Caroline, if you could start us off, please.
Sure, thanks. I try not to be too long-winded, but everyone has a story. I was a non-traditional student, and by that meaning non-traditional age, 18 to 22-ish, 23. I was in my late 20s when I decided, after high school, I didn't go to college right away. I started to work and got a pretty good job, and started to make a little money and got comfortable. But I knew in the back of my mind that I was always, and education was always in my future. It's just a matter of when and when I was ready. And I was ready in my late 20s, so I returned to a community college, and just to get my feet wet, because being out of school and probably, truth be told, not being the best high school student ever, I wanted to start at a community college, kind of start off slow and get my feet wet and gain some confidence. I started as an environmental science major. I do teach history now. I got my master's degree in history, and one of the major reasons why I'm not only here talking to you as a history instructor, but I changed my major from environmental science to history is that a community college instructor, and this is a true story. She taught history at Butte Community College in Northern California, near where I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area. And so I took one of her classes, then I took another one, I think I took every class she ever offered, and then decided to change my major as a result of the passion she brought to the classroom, and her passion not only for her students, but for the subject matter, and she really opened my eyes to how history can be taught well. So I changed my major and decided actually to become a history instructor or professor at that time. HACC, why HACC? Well, as I was a part-time faculty member in California, I went back to teach at a community college, my alma mater, Butte Community College. Taught there for a while as an adjunct faculty member, part-time faculty member, and obviously we're all trying to get, or most of us are trying to get full-time employment, and that's what my goal was to get a full-time job in teaching at a community college. I'm from Maryland. I grew up in California, but I'm from Maryland. So my father and I would take summer trips out to the Mid-Atlantic and Maryland and Pennsylvania, like just touring around and going to places where Oriole fans, we will go to Orioles games and the like. And one summer in 2005, I told myself, okay, if there's a town or an area or region that I really like and kind of feel compelled about, I'll make a mental note of it and then look to see if there's a job that becomes available in my field of teaching. And And I didn't even know HACC existed. I'd never been to Central Pennsylvania, but I really liked Harrisburg. That's the only place that I made a note in my head. I want to go here. I want to maybe move out here, move back out here. I hadn't lived in the East since I was 4 years old. So Harris and I was looking at an employment website for faculty positions, and lo and behold, there was a position in virtual teaching online for Harrisburg Area Community College. And I applied, of course, because that's what it seemed like that's where my path was leading me. And I felt confident and almost maybe overconfident that I would get the job, that this is mine, it's going to happen. And I think that's what I needed to make sure I did well in the interview. So they flew me out, my first interview I've ever had, teaching for a full-time position, and I left the interview very confident again that I would be chosen to teach because that's the place that was compelling to me. And lo and behold, I got the job, and 10 years later, here I am teaching full-time and talking to you about my passion for doing so, and giving you a little bit about how I got here.
Well, glad to hear you're with us, Caroline, and thanks for sharing some of the background story. I am wondering, though, if you still have the same love towards Harrisburg today after the snow, but I won't judge you either way.
Well, yes and no. People ask me, well, why Pennsylvania? Well, I'm from Maryland, so it's like coming home, but yes, snow in April is not something a Californian is used to.
Yes. Well, thanks for sharing. I'm so glad to hear you had a very positive instructor experience early on that really influenced your life pathway. So, and I think both you and Pauline are that same type of instructor, that you're influencing students on a daily basis. So thank you for what you do. And for those of you who are in attendance, look to take one of Caroline or Pauline's courses as you look to register for courses. Pauline, if you could also please touch on why you decided to teach within your discipline and why at HACC.
Well, first, everyone knows that I always loved mathematics. I have never changed my mind since I was a child. After I graduated from college, I moved to Philadelphia area, and for 4 years I taught at the pharmacy school in Philly. But later, my husband and I moved to Harrisburg. Then in 1984, I answered an ad about a teaching position at HACC. Before that, I knew nothing, absolutely nothing about HACC. That is really a funny start of my career. But I was hired, and the rest is history. And as far as I'm concerned, teaching mathematics is really the best job in the world. And being a faculty at HACC for so many years, the college really gave me tons of opportunities to do lots of things. And as far as teaching, I get to play with technology. I admit that I really fascinated with technology, whether calculators, web-based, especially now, web-based technology, and I can share with with students. As also many of you know that I got into iTunes U, which I will talk about iTunes U a little bit later. But with all these years, besides teaching at HACC, I got into many other projects, which I never could have dreamt about, like serving on math organizations, writing, authoring textbooks, and so on. And of course, the greatest passion was to develop podcasts for the iTunes U. So I absolutely will not change my job, even though now I'm taking a transitional retirement, but I still have passion in teaching, even with the online classes and also doing other things. So that's my that's how I got into teaching, and also has been a really great pleasure to be associated with this college for so many years.
Well, thanks for sharing, Pauline, and I'm glad you have a passion and love for math. I'm not sure if everybody has that same passion, but I know that your passion is contagious and everybody has unique areas that are of interest to them, and glad that math is yours. So thanks for speaking as far as why you chose the discipline and why at HACC. Another question for both of you, the faculty members present here. If you could describe your teaching style and how you engage students, I'd love to hear. Caroline, if you could go, please.
Yes, thank you. Well, going back to that community college professor, she really kind of showed me the light. Most of our history classes unfortunately in our memory have been somewhat boring, I guess. I hate history. I don't get history. My argument is that you've never been taught history well. It might seem egotistical, but the community college instructor that I had, she would do things like come dressed in costume, period costume, when she came as Anne Hutchinson, a colonial American up in New England in the early colonial times. And she did it well, and people ask me, have you ever done that? And I said, no, I would never do that. That's just not my style. But the point is, she really brought history to life. She made it real. She made it relevant. She made it exciting. We looked at both primary and secondary sources. Primary sources are documents and artifacts that were generated at the time period that you're studying. So she made it real by allowing us or giving us the opportunity to read those sources and really kind of make inferences about history based on reading the actual sources that were created during the time period we were studying. So it really kind of made history relevant and come to life for me. So I try to basically replicate some similar things that she does in an online environment. Mind you, I couldn't even perhaps dress as Anne Sullivan and pull it, or Anne Hutchinson and pull it off because it's online. But I do try to make my content compelling. And how I do that is I have students become the historians. In other words, they are the detectives. They're going to look at the sources, primary and secondary. Secondary sources are textbooks and articles and journal pieces that are written by historians. But I turn the tables on the students and say, you guys are the student historians. You guys will be looking at the source material. You guys will be using the questions that I pose as a guide toward reviewing all that material and basically coming to your own conclusions backed by the evidence, which are the sources. And as long as you can bring that evidence to bear, you will be able to do well in my class, because it's history. Why I love it is that it is open to interpretation. You know, China is going to have a very different a take on what U.S. history is based on just their fact of being a world away and being immersed in Chinese culture and history, whereas someone from, say, the southern states, United States, is going to have a very different take on our own history. It's all about perspective. So I turn the tables on that and say, you guys are the drivers of your learning, and make the sources and the questions as compelling as possible to really engage students and really foster student learning.
Great, thank you, Caroline. It sounds like you put some of the learning in the control of the students, that they can seek out certain areas that are of interest to them, staying within the course context, of course, but I think that's certainly motivational to students to learn even more than they would have if they did not have that freedom. Thanks for sharing. Pauline, if you could describe your teaching style and how you engage students, please.
Yes. I will follow up with what Caroline was saying. Actually, you and I heard more about the four-letter word math. A lot of students said, I hate math. So my teaching style, first of all, since I was teaching both face-to-face and online classes, so my teaching style in the face-to-face classes actually changes in every classroom, every course, and every student, because I really don't know what type of students I'll be having for that one particular class. But the common theme in every class will be I am very thorough in the presentation of lectures. I cannot tolerate marginal learning, which means students always say, oh, I want to get the answer. I always like to give them the long stories. So in face-to-face classes, I start teaching each lecture with review of the last lecture and bring students forward to the new concepts so the student can connect, okay, all the lectures. So, and I do not have any script lectures. I always go into the classroom with examples that I get from the textbook, but also make up examples along the way. This way I can bring a variety of examples to the classroom so the students know that they don't really just learn from the book. In addition, you know, I love technology and so on. I also bring in the web-based technology to the classroom so the student can use those on their own when they go home. Now, what about online classes? Well, because I do have podcasts at iTunes U, so I put all those into my video lectures. So in my video lectures, I really present the concept in a very thorough way, teach students how to use web-based technology to explore, check the answers, and so on. So actually, the online students, if they use my podcast, is really the same as sitting in a classroom. But what they miss out, though, will be my jokes, because in the face-to-face classes, I do engage students with humors and jokes. And their favorite ones will be, I have child top 10 lists. And I entertain students with child top 10s. And those are the ones that I don't put into the podcast. So to me, how to engage students in a classroom besides giving lectures, sometimes putting in humors, jokes, and so on, really help students to stay in the classroom. Actually, what happened is, so in my classes, okay, attendance was not a problem. Because sometimes if the student missed my class, they will come and apologize, okay, to me that they had missed my class. So so those are my teaching styles and how to engage students.
Pauline, it sounds to me like you're a little bit of a chameleon as far as the instructor that you are, and that you're adapting to every single environment that you're placed in, whether it's in a physical classroom or online. So thanks for sharing on that. And I guess you did mention the Chow Top 10. I guess we have to take one of your courses to find out what that means and get some of the humor from that. So take one of Pauline Chow's math courses and you'll find out what a top 10, Chow Top 10 is. Moving on to another question here. What are your expectations of students, and are there particular mistakes, or maybe even one mistake, that students should look to avoid, especially now as they're preparing to become a student here at HACC? Caroline.
Like I said before, my job done well is to make what I do engaging, and make you want to come to class. I want you to log in, because you never know what assignment is going to be assigned to you next. In other words, what question are you going to be grasped or tackled with, and how to approach the material as a result of that question. So that's my job. Flip side, same thing. Students need to engage the material, and my job is to have engaging material. Students' job is to come to class and log in and engage the material. Anytime you do anything, I say to students, no matter what it is, you find value in it, and you find value by engaging yourself in what it is. You know, we only have a short time to most of us to be alive, so we might as well engage in what we're doing and stop and be able, if we have time, to smell the roses. So my expectation is engagement. I'll say it over and over again throughout the semester. You have to show me you are engaged in what you're doing. I don't have any traditional tests or exams in my class. As I said, students are the historians, and so it's really hard to sort of test students in a highly objective way if the students are actually doing their own interpretation. But what I do tell students, you don't get off free without tests. I'm examining everything that you do in the class, so everything I send to you as far as graded opportunities are is an examination. But you have to engage in the material, you have to engage in the time spent, and it's really evident when students aren't engaged because you can see it in the quality of their work. So I value that. And kind of similarly, the mistakes that I think we all need to avoid is procrastination. These are college level courses. Stay on task. And just make sure that you, if assignments started on Monday that's available, sink into it on Monday and try to have a game plan on what you need to do to complete the assignment before the due date. And if you leave it to the last minute, you're going to invariably not do as well or not do well at all as a result of trying to just cram everything in at the last minute. Easier said than done, I understand that, but word to the wise, especially if you take one of my classes. And also enjoy. People make a mistake and say, oh, I'm going to get my gen eds out of the way. I have no idea what that means because the idea of being generally educated is that you know a little bit about a lot of things about the world, and you can be more successful in anything you do by really sinking your teeth into your general education courses and also your major courses. But don't look at it like you're getting something out of the way. Look at it like you want to go in to enjoy the experience and find value in the experience. And I guarantee you'll look back on the experience as something that you got everything that you wanted to get out of.
Great. Yeah, sounds like you have some great tips for students to put forth the effort, do the work, don't procrastinate, find some value, and enjoy your experience. So great tips. Pauline, do you have some things that you would like to add as far as what your expectations are of students and what are some mistakes that could be avoided?
Yes, actually I'm repeating I'm repeating what Caroline was saying too. For me, I expect online students will really set aside the needed time to follow the study plan as prescribed by the instructor, for example, in my online classes. And I also expect them to be more tech-savvy in exploring and finding additional resources to help them learn. Like there are so many free web-based technology, graphing calculator, website that will give you answers and provide steps. So actually I will give you 3 websites so that you can spread the word so that students should not have the excuse saying that, oh, I don't know how to do the problem. There are at least 2 websites that will show students step by step and etc. Now, let me just talk about my expectation first. For each chapter, okay, in my online class, I always put up like a 3-week window. So the students should watch podcasts, for example, my video lectures, or the videos coming from the textbook. The publishers, they do have video lectures, come with the ebook, the textbook, and so on. And as they watch the podcast, they should do the same thing as in the regular class, take notes, make notes, going over examples, learning the concepts, and also, in addition, doing the online homework and the take-home assignments. And for me, when a student turns in the take-home assignment, I always give them the feedback. In addition, I give them a detailed solutions. So they should review those to relearn the concepts and so on. Now, at the end of the third week, then they will take the online test or the paper test. So what they should not do, mistakes made by students online or face-to-face for that matter, is to do the online homework, submit the take-home assignment after taking the test. Procrastinate and cram all 3 weeks of work, okay, 2 days before taking the major test. They thought they can learn everything in 2 days. In mathematics and a lot of other subjects, no, you have to learn the material through a long period so that you can really cram everything in a day or two. And the other mistake made by especially online students is to give excuses for not using the available video lectures and so on. And they also don't Google, and that's the biggest mistakes. If you do Google on the web, a lot of times you find other lectures, like in YouTube, and some of you have heard about Khan Academy, Khan. Personally, I don't like those lectures, but at least they are free. And the worst mistake is not to communicate with the instructor. Like what Caroline was saying earlier, you need, and the other two students too, Jack and Beth, is you need to communicate with the instructor. Okay, you cannot email the instructor after the test telling, like me, all kinds of problems. You need to communicate with the instructor before taking the test and let the instructor know. And sometimes when I grade the paper test, students will write on the test that I don't understand, I'm lost. Hey, it's too late. You're not going to write those on the test. You need to email me those words before taking a test so that at least I will be able to try to help, giving you more examples, giving you more hints, and so on. So those are my comments.
Thank you. It sounds like there's a common theme here to not procrastinate. And Caroline, I think you were the one who said it, easier said than done, but make use of your time. You know, maybe you're a busy person who you're picking your kids up at a soccer practice. You can fit some time in there working on your schoolwork, or if you're waiting in the doctor's office, fit some time in there where you can work on your schoolwork. I know it's better to have long chunks of time where you feel like you can be very productive, but take advantage of those small little segments of time that you do have in order to not procrastinate. One more question here for the two faculty members, Caroline and Pauline, that we have present. But before I ask the question, I do want to make the last call for the tuition giveaway. So if you were not present here in this webinar when I made the announcement earlier, we have a $1,000 tuition giveaway that we will be giving out to future students who are present here in the online open house. The tuition is good towards the summer and fall terms, or summer or fall term, or both. But you do have to make sure you're filling out the SurveyMonkey link, which you'll see there in the chat box. I'll post it one more time. That way, if you have not filled this out, make sure you go and do it. This is your last opportunity to be able to fill out the $1,000 tuition giveaway. We'll be announcing the winner here in just a few minutes. So do make sure, if you did not enter, do it now. You'll have about a minute longer that we'll leave that open for, and then we'll be selecting a winner. So the last question I have here for the faculty members is, do you have any advice for students looking to take courses at HACC? Caroline.
Yes, of course, I do. Stay focused on your goal, whatever the goal is, and prioritize accordingly. So never lose sight of that goal. But also, while you're prioritizing, understand that one of the things I think you'll learn at school, and the quicker you can learn, the better, is that sometimes you'll need to reprioritize. Things happen in life, and you'll need to shuffle stuff around and be able to get get whatever you need accomplished done. And again, something that's urgent yesterday or something that wasn't urgent yesterday may become urgent. So understand that that's going to happen and sort of learn how to do that best, but all the while making sure that your goals are kept in mind, and the reason why you've come to school. And so don't lose sight of that, but also be prepared to wing it and go on the fly a little bit as things come up, and practice yourself at that, and be able to kind of repurpose things based on exigencies or based on what happens in that moment or that next day. But again, the goal in mind always helps you, kind of adjust things to changes that sometimes are out of your control.
Thanks, Caroline. Sounds like stay focused on the goal, and I know you gave plenty of other advice throughout the questions as well, and Pauline, you did too. But Pauline, if you have just one piece of advice to share with students that they can take with them today, what would that be?
Wow, one will be will be difficult. I think the main thing is, if the student, if they're going to take online classes, they have to be proactive. That's the word. That means what they should do is, before they sign up for the classes, they need to be proactive, to email the instructor, ask for about the instructor's, his or her expectation, the structure of the course, and also what type of work, will be required for the course. And being proactive also means that they have, going back to what I said earlier, they have to be technology savvy, Google available resources on the web, iTunes U. Let me do a 30 minutes plug it for the iTunes U. There are so many free math videos and other subjects too available in iTunes U. In the math area, we have video lectures ranging from pre-algebra all the way to differential equations. And the one word is they are free. And they can play the video and stop and listen as many times as they need. And that's the things that they can do. And also websites, I'm going to give you 3 websites so that you can spread the words for especially math students, whether they take online or face-to-face classes. The first one is called Desmos.com, DESMOS.com. This website will graph anything. The second website will show students step-by-step solutions, called Symbolab.com, SYMBOLAB, and then .com. The third one has many manuals, really for students taking especially developmental math, called NumberEmpire.com, the word number and then the word empire, one word, .com. So I wish everyone to be successful in taking online math classes and other online classes. Hey, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about my passion and everything else. Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll get those links that you recommended posted here in the chat box momentarily, just so students can refer to that. We will also post a link for the mobile learning where you can find out more about iTunes U courses and collections that HACC offers. So hang tight and we'll get that posted for you. I do want to move on in the presentation here where we put you in the driver's seat. You know, you've heard a lot from the presenters here today, and I hope you did find the information to be helpful. But do you have any questions for us? If you do have some questions, feel free to type it there in the chat box. All of the presenters are here live, and we'll answer your questions. So maybe you have some general HACC questions, maybe something about financial aid or advising. Maybe you have a question for one of the students or Beth, who's an alumni. We have faculty members here as well. Feel free to type your chat questions right there in the chat box. and we'll be monitoring those to help you. Just so you know as well, the presentation portion of the online open house will conclude right around noon today, so in about 10 minutes here. The last hour of the online open house will solely be chat. So if you do think of any questions once this presentation portion is completed, I'll be sticking around here to answer any questions that you may have, or maybe you're just having a hard time finding some information on the web page, and I'm happy to point you to the correct link. So it doesn't look like anybody has typed any questions in there. You know, feel free to continue to think of any questions that you may have. We'll give just a minute or two to give you some time to think about what questions you may have. While you're thinking of what questions you may have, oh, okay, looks like we do have a question there from Steve. The priority registration date for veterans actually already occurred. That happened about 2 weeks ago. I don't have the exact date here. I believe it was the very end of March, but it's underway right now. You are able to register, and new student registration begins on Monday. So after Monday, registration is open to all students, whether they're related to military, whether they're a current student, or if they're a new student. You can register up until the week before courses start. So, you know, it's better if you register earlier on. That way you get first choice as far as what courses you're hoping to take, and you can just get all your ducks in a row as far as getting your textbook and everything done in time. But keep in mind, registration is open up until the start of courses. Any other questions? Well, while you're thinking of maybe some more questions that you may have, I would like to thank each presenter that helped out today. Together with the team effort of all of the presenters, I hope that you were able to receive the information that you needed to learn more about HACC, and we do hope to see you here as a student. Looks like, Steve, you have a question. You're applying for a student ID for use at one of the campuses. Are you wondering where you can do that? If that's what you're meaning by that, you can do that at security, and I believe some of the welcome centers are also now opening that up where students can get ID from the welcome center, but definitely security on any one of the campus locations. And to just clarify what I just said there, security is where you'll get your ID for now, but starting this summer, you should be able to get your ID at the welcome centers. Nicole, looks like you're wondering how courses can be done online. So for instance, communication or physical education. You know, those aren't common courses that you think of being able to do online, but with technology these days, it is possible. So with our communication courses, a lot of times the presentations that students are doing are done virtually. I believe faculty members use different types of technology for that, but for instance, Skype may be an example of how a presentation could be done virtually. For the physical education courses, a lot of the monitoring of the movement is done with a Fitbit or a similar device like that where it's tracking your movement. So those are two examples of ways that those courses can be done. But it's just incredible how far online education has come. So hopefully that helps you. And Aisha, it looks like you're wondering if you can access the open house recording. Yes, we will have it posted on the Virtual Learning Facebook page, so I'll just post that here in the chat box. That way you can refer to it. We will also have it posted on the web page. That probably will not be today, but by Monday we should have it posted on the web page for you, and I'll get you the link for where you can access the recordings, not just the open house, but any of the past recordings that we've held. Post it right there in the chat box. Any other questions? Well, if not, I have a question for you. I have a few more poll questions I'd like to ask you. If you were here at the beginning of the presentation, you know that I had you answering some poll questions then, so I'd like to bring them back and ask you a few more questions. So one of the questions is, and just a minute here while I bring it up. Just wondering, what were you hoping to learn from today's event? You can check more than one thing. Hopefully you did get the answers to what you were hoping to learn. But were you hoping to learn how to apply to HACC? Did you want to learn about scholarships, online courses, maybe HACC's programs? And I'm sorry we couldn't go into detail to every single program, but you do know where to turn as far as finding out some program information. Financial aid, I know that's always a popular area with students having questions, or maybe some other area that we just didn't touch on, and you're welcome to type in the chat box there if there was another area that you would love to have seen us present on, just so we can continue to make this better every time we offer the online open house. So it looks like a big variety of what you were looking to learn from today's event, and like I said earlier, I hope you were able to find the information presented to you to be helpful. So thanks for participating in the poll. I do have a few other poll questions here for you, and we will be announcing the winner to the tuition giveaway here shortly. But hang tight while I still have some poll questions here for you. Another question is, how likely would you recommend the HACC's online open house to others? Very likely, somewhat likely, not at all. You know, like I said, we always want to make this better. So if you ever have some suggestions on how you could see this event running better, more smoothly, feel free to email me. I just put my email there in the chat box. I'd love feedback. But it seems like most of you would recommend the online open house, and I'm glad to hear that. Another poll question. How would you describe your overall online open house experience? So similar to the other question, but a little bit different. Would you describe your experience as excellent, good, fair, or poor? It's my hope that you do experience excellent or good, and like I said, if it's not that, please email me with some suggestions you may have. Great, thank you. Okay, 2 more questions using the poll here, so bear with me. After this event, so after this online open house event, has your impression of HACC improved? Yes, significantly. Yes, slightly. Has it remained the same? Maybe you already had a great impression of HACC, so it remained the same. Or maybe it just hasn't changed at all. Great. Okay. And one more question for you. Hopefully you have fun with this one. Are you ready for the tuition giveaway? Yes or no? I will be very shocked if I see some no's, but who knows? Maybe you just don't like free money. Well, it looks like most of you are ready for the tuition giveaway. All right, well, one more reminder slide here. I do want to remind you that to apply, if you have not already, please do so at hacc.edu. It's free to apply. Also, new student registration begins on April 11th, so that's coming up on Monday. Make sure you're looking ahead to the courses that you can take, and we'll help you through the process. All right, I know you've been waiting for this moment here. We're getting the winner drawn here, so we'll do a little drum roll. And while we're picking the winner here, feel free to ask any questions that you may have there in the chat box. Okay, thanks for bearing with us. We have the $1,000 tuition giveaway winner. Remember that this is good towards the summer term and the fall term. So the winner is David Ackerley. Congratulations to David. I'll type your name here in the chat box just in case I did say your name incorrectly. And David, if you could hang tight after the presentation here, we will connect, and I'll let you know what your next steps are as far as getting the tuition giveaway applied to your summer or fall courses. So David Ackerley, congratulations to you. Thank you all for attending the online open house today. I will stick around for a few more minutes in case you do have some questions. The last hour of this event will be open for chat questions that you may have. Thanks for attending. Hope you found it to be helpful. We're here to support you, and enjoy the rest of your day. We hope to see you at HACC soon.